Today has the potential to be exciting because we might actually get to start building the set depending on a couple factors. For starters, I got the IKEA tabletops already. They're right here. There's 6 of them in total. They're roughly 6 feet by 2 feet. You can't really see the finish on them unless you look at the side here because this is the underside, but you'll see it later. And initially, I was gonna have a pair of trapezoidal legs underneath each of these desks. In fact, I already ordered them. They should be here tomorrow. They're arriving from Amazon. Then one of you guys gave me the idea to instead use floating L brackets and mount these tabletops to the wall to give it a more clean, minimalistic look. And I really like that idea. So I asked you guys on Twitter about it to find out more information. And the general consensus seems to be that as long as you're using some heavy duty L brackets that are at least 3/4 of the depth of your tabletop. So for example, if this is 24 inches deep, then we need an L bracket that's at least 18 inches long on this side, which should be pretty easy to find. The other thing though, is ensuring that we mount those brackets to the studs in the wall for utmost support. If we just screw straight into drywall, then the load capacity drops significantly of those brackets to the point where they're no longer reliable. So we need to find out where the studs in the wall are. Did they space them 16 inches apart, 24 inches apart? Are they all placed evenly apart as they should be? And finally, do the studs line up in such a way that makes sense with where we're trying to put these desks? So I've got my handy dandy stud buddy here. Let's find some studs. All right, buddy, work your magic. Come on, let's see it. Give me that stud. There's a stud. I think that's a stud. Yeah, that's a stud right there. We're gonna just call this the center of the stud, more or less. And then it's pretty close to the outlet. So I'm guessing they put the outlet to the right of the stud. I'm gonna guess there's another stud right here, which is about 16 inches from the looks of it. And ding, 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 ding. Okay, sweet. All right, so we've got 16-inch apart studs, pretty standard. And I think from here we can just use a measuring tape to mark where the other ones are. Okie dokie, so after measuring out all the studs, I've actually determined that using every other stud or mounting an L bracket to every other stud is probably the best bet. That means we'll have 2 or a pair of brackets for every 6-foot table. Although the table that's going on this wall is actually 5 feet, we cut it down to size, so that one will still have 2 brackets as well. If we use 3 brackets per desk, then the bracket in the middle wouldn't actually be completely centered. It would be offset quite a bit, in fact, for most of the desks. So it just wouldn't look as good. And besides, a pair of these brackets is supposed to hold up to 1,000 pounds. And I'm really not gonna be putting anything heavy on any of these desks. I mean, maybe a couple computer systems. Let's say worst case scenario, they each weigh 100 pounds, add a couple monitors. I mean, that's not even a third of what these brackets can technically support. So I think we're gonna be fine with 2 brackets per desk. As for this desk, since there's no wall here, we can't really wall mount it. It can't really be a floating desk unless we build a wall here. Now, if we built a DIY kind of movie set wall here, we could do that, but that would in no way be sturdy enough or stable enough to actually mount one of these desks to with those L brackets. So one option is to build the wall ourselves, make a little set wall and just have this desk on the trapezoidal legs, which obviously won't match the rest of it, but it might be a compromise that I'm willing to live with. Or we could just build a real wall that goes roughly to here, and then it wouldn't even have to go all the way to the ceiling because it would technically still just be for the set, and we could do that, and that way we could actually mount a floating desk here as well. But I have to talk to the landlord to see if that's even possible. You guys let me know what you think. So yeah, that's where we're at now. We kind of have an idea of what needs to get done at this point and how we're gonna do it. If all goes well, we should be able to mount 4 floating desks by the end of today. We'll just have to wait on this desk until we figure out exactly what we wanna do about this wall. So let's get some brackets. Here we go. Is this it? Yep, 20 by 13 inches, done.
This video was brought to you by the Lian Li LanCool 2 Mesh RGB. experience unrestricted airflow with a mesh front panel and ventilated power supply shroud for maximum cooling performance. Ample radiator support lets you water cool to your heart's content, and the case includes 3 120mm addressable RGB fans with a built-in front panel lighting controller for easy color and effect cycling. Enjoy flexible storage options on or underneath the PSU shroud, along with thoughtful cable management for utmost tidiness. Available in black or white, the LandCool 2 Mesh RGB is one of Lian Li's most impressive cases yet. Click on the link below for more info.
Okay, we're back, and we've got everything we need for the most part. I just realized something, though, that I should have realized a long time ago. And that is, we're in a commercial building, not a residential building, which means that the studs are most likely made of steel, not wood. And I just checked, they are. And the way I checked that was by trying to hammer a nail into one of the studs, and as you can see, it actually bent, and the tip of the nail is completely flat because they're steel, which means they're also probably not very thick like wood studs are, which means I probably can't use them to mount these brackets. So we're gonna have to screw into the drywall instead, and for that we have toggle bolts. These are 1/4 inch toggle bolts. The max capacity for each one of these is around 450 pounds, assuming that you're putting them into 3/4 of an inch drywall, which this is, I already measured it. So one of these has a load capacity of around 450 pounds, and we'll be using 6 of them per bracket. Each of these brackets have 3 holes on either side. So the long side is what we'll screw the actual tabletop to, while the short side is what we screw into the wall. So we actually can still use wood screws for the tabletop side, we'll just have to use these toggle bolts for the other side. Now, like I mentioned, the screw is a 1/4 inch, but the wings require a 5/8 inch drill bit. You have to drill a 5/8 inch hole into the wall if you want to be able to fit this in there. And the way this works is pretty straightforward. I'm sure you guys already know. A lot of you guys already know. You close it down like that, you screw it in, it goes through the wall. Once it exits the other side of the wall, the wings open, and then you screw it down, and basically these wings pretty much hug up against the back side of the drywall, and that's how it gets its support. So I actually did pick up a 5/8 of an inch drill bit, but the problem is, that I've just discovered, is that my drill, my one and only drill that I've had for so long, and has served me so well up until this point, does not fit this monstrosity. So if you'll excuse me, I now have to head back to the hardware store so I can exchange this bit for one that has an identical diameter, but a thinner shaft that'll fit in my power drill. I said shaft. That's funny. Okay, I've returned from the hardware store yet again, this time returning with this 5/8 inch spade bit, which really makes a lot more sense than a full-blown drill bit if we're just going through drywall. So now we can continue and finally start mounting these stupid brackets. Sorry if I sound salty. It's because I am, but I'm also excited. Let's do it. Cool. Shout out to Wifey Sauce for helping me put these tabletops on, but you might have noticed that didn't actually finish this one because we got one bracket that I could not mount since I actually lost one of these one of the wings, one set of wings in the wall. Like I unscrewed it when I shouldn't have unscrewed it, and then the anchor fell off and now it's somewhere behind the drywall. So I'm gonna wait till tomorrow for the hardware store to open so I can get another one of these wings and then finish the job. That way I'll be able to put the last tabletop on that goes against this wall. But look at that, hey, not too shabby. Now obviously you can see the edge here. It's a little bit, I mean, it's just like maybe a millimeter off. This is like a millimeter lower, but I'm planning to get some of those buckles, like, you know, the table locks that you just kind of mount 1 or 2 at the end of each table, and then they lock and buckle so that, you know, they stay together. That might help a little bit. It's still not gonna look completely seamless. You're gonna be able to tell that, you know, it's separate tables and stuff. But, you know, I think overall, it's gonna look pretty sweet, especially when this is all like covered with just a bunch of my crap. You're not really gonna notice these little lines here. I should mention I haven't actually mounted the tabletops to the brackets yet. They're just kind of sitting here just so I can see how it looks before I screw anything down. Now it's kind of hard to tell on camera, but I did leave maybe 1.5 inches of space between the wall and the edge of all the tables, just so I can pass cables through and stuff. I didn't want to like put them flush against the wall and then have to drill a bunch of cable management holes, cable routing holes into the tables. So instead I've just got, you know, a little bit of clearance there to pass cables through. But anyway, it is 9 p.m. now. I am hungry, haven't eaten dinner yet, so I will leave you guys here. Toss a like on this video if you like these videos. As always, thank you guys for watching. Have a good one, and I'll see y'all in the next video.